bottom line, got taken to the woodshed by the Arizona State Sun Devils. They whipped us in every phase of the game, outcoached us, outplayed us, and give all the credit to them. Much like what I said after the game was exactly what we saw on tape. They made a bunch of plays. They had a great plan coming in, and it really was no contest. And so we've got a lot of work to do. The bye week probably comes at a good time in a lot of respects. Get some bumps and bruises healed up. Give us a chance to mentally refocus and set our sights on the task ahead. Southern Cal's coming in a week from Thursday, so we've got another big challenge ahead of us, to say the least. And we've got to be much, much better than we were Saturday night in order to compete. One of the big problems that showed up again Saturday night was the lack of a run game. It's 3 weeks in a row now that we've not been able to establish any sort of consistency in the run game, and that definitely hurts us. And so we've got to get that part figured out. Biggest disappointment in the game Saturday is the way our defense played. Typically we're very consistent and solid on defense, but we did not perform very well at all defensively either. So it was a tough night for us. Questions?
Kyle, when you talk about the run game, does it start at the line, or where do you think the problems are happening? John talked after the game about, not the seams were there, but they weren't hitting him. Is it execution? Is it the O-line?
Well, I think, again, it's some of all the above. We talked about that last week. We had, for example, the shovel play. Had we shoveled it to John White, he'd still be running right now. I mean, it was wide open, and we just misread it and pitched the ball instead of shoveling it forward. He had a puller in front of him, a blocker in front of him, and wide open space. And the option with Devontae, should have pitched it. He kept it, but it should have been pitched. So there was just some misreads that occurred. We did have some of, we popped a couple runs. Kelvin York, I thought, was a bright spot. He ran hard and did some things in the run game. But overall, Dirk, much like last week and the week before, starts at the line of scrimmage, but that's not the only problem. We got to do a better job of reading correctly and making correct decisions.
Coach, the last time you had a loss like this, I guess at Cal, you said that it was one of the low points of your career. Do you have that same feeling, and your team responded well after that? How do you get them to respond after this?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out right now as a coaching staff, and that's absolutely essential that we respond. And this is a tough league. Wins in this conference are tough to come by every single week. There's no week that is a gimme by any stretch of the imagination. And so it's and this week we're probably playing the most talented team, or not this week, but this next game, the most talented team in the conference, in the USC Trojans. I mean, they got talent throughout the roster, and so we've got to respond. And now, we'll find out what we're made of this week and what kind of resiliency we have. But in the past, we've done a pretty good job of doing just that, so we'll see if we can do it again.
No block punts this week.
Yeah, that was a good thing.
I thought
Thank you for bringing up a positive.
The coverage looked better. I mean, I thought the special teams in general looked better.
They did, and unfortunately the special teams was a non-factor in the game because we played so poorly offensively and defensively that special teams didn't have any bearing. But we did net punt over 40 yards, which is our goal. If we can get 40-yard net punt average, we think we're flipping the field pretty good. Didn't have a chance to get many kickoffs, returns underway. They kicked the ball into the end zone most of the time. Only kicked off a couple times. But special teams' bright spot would have been the punt coverage unit. And Hackett, I thought Hackett did a nice job with his rugby kicks. We implemented the rugby kick to try to combat some of the pressure we were seeing in the punt game, and I thought he handled it very well.
Have you taken a look at USC yet? And if so,
yeah.
what can you give us as an early scouting report on the Trojans and your matchup?
Talent at every single position. The back from Penn State is a very good runner, runs hard. The receivers are as good as you'll find in the country as a group. The quarterback might be the best quarterback in the country. Certainly the best pro-style quarterback in the country. Defense, outstanding. There's speed and athleticism across the board there as well, so there really is no weakness. Stanford did a great job getting after them. They were very, very physical up front. That was the biggest thing that Stanford did, is they got after them up front with their down guys. The coverage in the secondary was very good. They redirected receivers and played outstanding in the secondary as well. So I haven't studied the USC's defensive tape versus Stanford, but I know that Stanford really did a nice job on him.